Hello, friend. You thought I forgot about you, didn't you? No, I could never forget you. You're a part of me. You'll always be a part of me. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Welcome back to Hello Friends. My name is Kyle. We're doing like a soft reboot here, so you can see we've got a new camera angle. These reviews, it's been about 2 months since episode 14. These reviews are going to be different. Like I said, sort of a soft reboot. So we're not going to be going like in-depth line by line anymore. I just can't do the 45-minute reviews where I was taking too many notes. It was taking me too long. So I hope you guys enjoy this. We're still going to follow The Plot is an Illusion. I'm going to quickly recap kind of the episode, my favorite scenes. We're still going to be doing White Rose. We're still going to be giving it a score. So it's not changing that much. It's just enough where, fitting enough, I think, with the off-camera angle here. This is kind of what Mr. Robot does, or Sam does with Mr. Robot, I should say. They're just going to be quicker episodes. So with all the other content I'm doing now, I just frankly don't have the time or the patience to take studious notes on Mr. Robot. So with that being said, this is episode 100 on the channel. So can't believe we made it this far. So thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart for all the support, all the love you've shown. Please spread the word. It's just the beginning. We've only been going about 5 months now, but I'm addicted to making content, and I'm super excited to see where the channel is going. Also, go check out the Chasing Rings podcast, which is our sports podcast that we just started, me and a couple buddies of mine. So with all that being said, guys, if you haven't seen this show before, hello friends, we're reviewing every episode of Mr. Robot. Again, it's been about 2 months since I hopped in here, so here we go. So this is season 2, episode 5 of Mr. Robot. This one we're going to be calling Obey. The theme around this episode is sort of, Elliot says there's masters and there's slaves. He's like, everyone has a master. This is super, super cool because in a way he kind of has a point, whether it's, a child listening to their parents, a student listening to the teacher. Craig Robinson does a really, really cool job of being like creepy in this episode, where he mentions that his pet got into like a really bad accident or got sick, and then that's when the pet realized that they're relying on someone else to keep them breathing, which is a really, really chilling line. I know I probably just botched that line, but he tells that to Elliot because we find Elliot in the hospital. But before we find Elliot in the hospital, this episode is the 90s sitcom parody episode. I give Sam Esmail a ton of credit because he has some balls to pull this off. There's a laugh track in here. Everyone's wearing ridiculous attire. The mom is in the car with them. But the first 15-20 minutes of this episode, it's shot in like that. Is it 4:3 or 16:9? I get those confused. Anyway, it's like that short video. If you shoot like video on your phone vertically, don't ever do that. It's like they have a laugh track, like I said. Really, really cool. It's really cool because Elliot is super confused and he's like, what's going on? Eventually we find out that Christian Slater, is Mr. Robot, is telling him, hey, this is all like a figment of your imagination. But he's like, you got to put the past behind you. He's like, we got to keep moving forward. He says throughout the episode, he says, eyes on the road, like eyes ahead, kiddo. And then we find out at the very end of the episode that this was actually kind of what his mantra was, because he finds out he's sick. He's been going to doctor's appointments. He then tells Elliot, who Elliot got in like a fight with a bully. So Elliot's kind of in trouble. But he tells Elliot, Elliot, I've been sick and I just found out I'm getting laid off from my job. And he said the only thing my employer told me was that he gave me a list of the dates. He didn't tell me why, but he said he wishes me luck, and that was it. And we find out that these are the actual dates that Elliot's dad was going to the doctor's appointments. He had to leave early for blood work. Of course, we know that Elliot's dad dies from a sickness. So this is the first time Elliot learns about that. But to kind of distract Elliot from it, he says, you know, Elliot, I'm going to open up a computer shop. He's like, oh, a computer shop, that's cool. He's like, yeah, computer repair shop. He's like, you know, you get to name it. He's like, what the first thing that pops in your head? But he says, like, eyes on the road, kiddo. And so that's kind of the theme here. He's trying to distract Elliot from the devastating news that he told him, that he's got a fatal sickness here. And so he's like, you know what, don't worry about that, Elliot. He's like, worry about naming the shop. So really, really cool stuff. But like I said, we start off in like a convertible 90s. Elliot's freaking out. Everyone else is acting normal, normal-ish, I should say. Darlene's playing a Game Boy, and it's like footage of Elliot getting beaten up by Craig's people last episode. So that's freaky. There's a man in the trunk, which is Tyrell Wellick. Like, we don't know why he's tied up. We get a special appearance from Gideon Goddard. He shows up as a cop who pulls them over. Elliot's freaking out. He's like, what's going on here? And then Gideon gets run over by Alf. And then we later find out that Alf is playing in the hospital room that Elliot wakes up in. He was being very closely monitored by Ray's people there. So yeah, Ray's just a bad dude. We found out last episode that he's doing like a black market child trafficking sort of thing. So Ray is not a good dude. But he, you know, his character, you see, Craig Robinson, such a nice guy that you don't think that he's going to be a villainous character, but his character kind of goes down that path again, and we really see how terrifying he can be. So Elliot eventually wakes up, you know, in the hospital. They kind of throw him in another room. He's like shivering like a pet. He's scared. He doesn't know what to do. We also get a little bit of Angela here. She's working with F Society. Mobley, is trying to teach Angela how to hack, and you know, he's like giving her the script, and she just keeps messing it up. She's like, I will get this. And he tells Darlene, he's like, man, I can't teach someone to hack in 24 hours. Like, it's just not going to work. We need more time. Darlene's like, we don't have any time, dude. So they're like, we got to go ahead with this hack. They got to get into the FBI building. They're telling Angela she's got to leave the device, like the router type of deal. On the floor, it's going to get all the Wi-Fi, it's going to hack into all the cell phones and everything like that. Angela's like talking to herself. She's like, I will find my success. I will find my success. And it's like, Mobley's like, you know, you can't talk to yourself when you're doing this, right? Anyway, we jump ahead. Angela goes in the building. She originally puts like the router down after she goes to the bathroom, and she is like talking to Darlene. There's like a weird ass dude standing outside of the bathroom, and he's like trying to hit on Angela. He's got really weak game, where he's like, oh, you know, this floor is you know, like off limits for anyone who's non-bureau. And she doesn't know what to do, and they're trying to, like, it's cool because in the ear she's hearing things from like Mobley, who's like, oh, he calls his mom a lot, I'm going to exploit that. He gets a call to go through as the guy's mom. He doesn't fall for it, he just ignores it, and they're like, oh, I don't know what to do now. But Angela's like, oh, she, like, you know, fights him off, yada yada yada. Anyway, Angela's leaving. She's like, the job is done. And then Darlene's like, no, the Wi-Fi just went out. You have to go back in there. And Angela's like, oh, are you kidding me, dude? She's like, I did what you want. And she's like, well, if you can't do this, I can't delete the security footage of you going in there. So you're screwed if you don't. So it's like a really tense scene. Angela has to go back to her cubicle, and she has to like type in this code. Darlene's like walking her through it. But then she's got headphones in listening to Darlene, and then Dom shows up. And Dom is on the case, dude. She is coming after F Society, and she's getting closer and closer. She's getting too close for her own good. Dom is great. But we also do get a little scene with Dom in this episode where she goes to see like a store clerk that she gets the turkey sandwich from, and she's like, hey man, what's going on? Where's all your stock? And he's like, well, now that, you know, the E-Corp hack, he's like, oh, I can't, it's only cash. So he's like, no one's coming in because no one has cash. And he's like, no customers means no inventory refill. And she's like, oh man, that sucks. And she's like, well, how about I get one more turkey sandwich then? And he's like, really? You're gonna make me make a turkey sandwich for you, dude? I'm already down in the dumps here. But anyway, that's just a little like sad scene, but it's cool because it shows you like a broader perspective of what shape the world is in this world after the hack. So the post-hack scene, it shows you that, you know, people are dealing with issues like this. For me personally, I've mentioned this before, I haven't had cash on me in months, so I pay for everything. Bills, gas, food, everything goes through my debit card. So if someone were to just hack my card, presumably like a hack that goes on Mr. Robot, if all of my money in my paycheck is just gone, I wouldn't be able to do anything. And so that's a scary thought, considering that a lot of people do that. A lot of people rely on their debit cards. A lot of people use their credit cards. They don't have cash. Cash is barely used anymore. So just a cool little you know, tidbit into that episode. So we do run into Dom running into Angela, and she's like, "Oh, it's okay." She's like, "Are you on a call?" She's like, "Oh, wait." And Angela's like, "Shit, I don't know what to do here." And that's pretty much it. And then the scene I talked about earlier is the end scene where Elliot's dad talks to young Elliot and reveals the sickness. So this episode for me, and again, I know that might have been like kind of a blitz there. Again, these are going to be shorter episodes. I don't have a set time limit. If I want to talk about something more than another episode, if there's a big episode, we'll probably spend more time on it. But for the most part, these are going to be quick reviews. I think that'll be better for you guys. The dialogue in the show is amazing, but I just can't sit through each and every line now. It's just taking me way too long to take notes. So again, soft reboot. It's still gonna be Hello Friends. You're still gonna get the awards. You're still gonna get me going through it. It's just gonna be sort of a condensed version of that for the remaining episodes, so I can rip through these quicker, and I think it'll just be probably a better experience for you guys. So yeah, we're missing on some of the great details with the great lines. But we're still going to kind of recap the favorite scenes. So for this one, the White Rose, it's got to go to Christian Slater. It's got to go to Mr. Robot. Rami's not really in much of this. We don't see much of Elliot here, or when we do, he's like badly, injured. We do see him in the flashback or the fake car sitcom again, which is so well done. I mean, Sam Esmail, I was like actually laughing. You're like uncomfortable, but you're laughing because scenes that should not be funny are funny because they put like a laugh track in there, and then it really goes to show you like the effects of a laugh track, and how if you go back and watch like any of the old 90s shows like Friends or anything like that, if you watch them without the laugh track, there's like some really creepy lines, and it shows you how manipulative a laugh track is really in that whole show. So it's just in that genre, or in that style. So that's really cool. Because yeah, like Darlene's mom was like punching her in the face, like knocking her out, and there's like a laugh track, and Elliot's like freaking out. But I really respect Sam for taking that direction, because he really like completely shifts the show for the first 20 minutes. I think people got it with mixed reviews, but it's really impressive filmmaking, so I do applaud him for that. But yeah, Christian Slater, I mean, he kind of is the glue to the show, where no matter what Rami's doing, no matter what the therapist is doing, we didn't check on her today, whatever's going on, man, it's Christian Slater. And in a lot of ways, he is the main character of the show. It does center around Rami, but he's like a 1A, where I thought he was just the best performer. He's like steady. He is that glue that keeps everything together. So Christian Slater is my White Rose Award winner this week. For score, this one gives an 8.3 for me. I like this episode. Not too much happened. I know we had Angela going into the FBI building, so that was a big moment. But this was like a transitional episode. I think it's fine. It's a nice episode. Again, all episodes of Mr. Robot are really good, so it's really hard to get a bad episode. And I wouldn't call this one a bad episode. It was just an episode that moved the plot along, between Angela's hacking and Elliot. We're finding out the state he's in. We get to see some Christian Slater, but yeah, it's interesting because this one, it's a middle of the season episode. It's season 2, episode 5, and that's exactly what it is. It's mid-season. It's going to give you the characters you love. It's going to give them some interesting moments there, but there wasn't really anything. Before I forget, we did have a scene where Cisco gets pretty much tortured by the Dark Army, and he's like, "Hey man, you gotta like." He gets the router for them, but he's like, "I thought we were on the same side." And Dark Army's like just remember like who you're dealing with. So that was a really cool scene I want to touch on there. So we get moments like that, but we don't really get like big character development moments. I guess the most is we see Angela, how she kind of, this is way out of her comfort zone, and she's able to get the job done, we think, under the most scrutinizing pressure. So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, season 2 just chugs along. Really good season 2. I like season 1 more so far, but again, rewatching these, I haven't seen a lot of these since the air date. But so we'll kind of see how it is. But an 8.3, I think it's a solid episode. It's just not one of the bright spots of season 2, or the peak, I should say. But that's to be expected because things are going to ramp up as the season goes on. All right, guys. So that's it. That's my review of season 2, episode 5, episode 15 overall of Hello Friends. Sorry for the delay. I know it's been about 2 months. I'm hopefully going to get back to a normal schedule, probably weekly for these. So look out for these maybe Saturday. But yeah, again, it's a little bit different, but we still got Elliot here. We still got F Society. Still got the Hello Friends shirt, the Mr. Robot hat. Again, this is episode number video number 100 on my channel, Project Potter here. So thank you guys so much. I really can't do it without you. And again, please spread the word, subscribe, tell your friends about it if you like Mr. Robot. We got a whole bunch of other content on there too, but we're going to focus on Elliot here and focus on Mr. Robot. And until next time, guys, goodbye, friend.